Mentoring with Geraldine is a bite-sized practitioner podcast for naturopaths, nutritionists, herbalists, coaches, and practitioners. This podcast responds directly to the needs of you, the practicing natural therapist. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mentoring with Geraldine and the bite-sized podcast. How the devil are you? So today I thought I'd talk about those social situations, about how we are as social beings in our clinical aspect and who we are and how we get things across to other people. So part of that clinical who we are is how we dress, how we stand, how we hold ourselves, how we conduct those telephone conversations. I was saying in the group the other day when I did a live in the community, in the Confident Practitioner community, I was saying in there how people can hear if you're smiling when you speak, and people can hear how you speak when you're not smiling. All right. The way we present ourselves comes across. And yes, if you're on Zoom or something with someone, you can be wearing terrible tracky jacks and horrible shoes or whatever. But we have to remember it's our whole being, right? It's how we present ourselves to ourselves as well as to everybody else when they see us, how we speak, how we look, whether we've done our hair, these things are what comes across and gives those first impressions. So once we've got our first impressions, we then have to have an elevator pitch. And so I thought today it was a really good idea, social situations, people say, what do you do? And, we've dressed nicely, we've, gone to the school gate to collect the children, and somebody, you get introduced to a new parent and the parent says, oh, what do you do? And you say, I'm a nutritionist, or I'm a naturopath, or I'm a herbalist, or I'm a coach, or whatever it is. And they say, oh, what's that? And then you've got an opportunity to wreck it or to make it. Because, if we don't have that elevator pitch, and especially in the schoolyard, where everything's happening, kids are running around, there's loads of noise, they're shouting, you're trying to identify your child over all the other children, and then someone says, what do you do? And you're like, yeah, I'm a naturopath. Yeah. Oh, what's that? So that's what we don't want. We don't want all those ums. What we want is a well-rehearsed, solid elevator pitch. It's called an elevator pitch because it's got to be spoken between the floors. So you press the button, the doors close, and it has to be said before the doors open on the next floor. So it's quick, really short, really to the point, because we have to get across to people what we do. And it has to be something that's really understandable for the person listening. Now, it might be a grandparent who meets you, and you work with young people with acne. So you look at this, elderly gentleman, and you think, oh, there's no point telling you I work with young people with acne, because you obviously haven't got acne. You're not my ideal client. Well, this grandparent might have 50 grandchildren who all have acne. So this person isn't your ideal client, but they might tell someone who is. So that's why we have an elevator pitch. That's why we can say to people when we meet them in that 30 seconds what we do, but what problem we solve. Okay, so you'll see this in a lot of my content, and everybody does it. This isn't exclusive to me. You will have seen other people doing this as well, and I've been talking about it for years. But in a couple of sentences, we have to have the crux of who we are. So, the line is, so that's whatever it is you do, as a naturopath. So I help, and this is where your ideal client comes in. So we're thinking about that acne child, we're thinking about that elderly gentleman. We'd say, as a naturopath, as a nutritionist, I help young people with acne. Okay, so I help young people who struggle with or who have acne. We say their main problem, whatever their problem is. So I help young people with acne. Now, you might say teenagers because you might prefer teenagers, but acne kind of goes all the way through life, doesn't it? So you might not want to do 40-year-olds acne for whatever reason. So then you'd say a young person. I help young people who struggle with acne, all right, to achieve. Now, what is it they want to achieve? What do they want to be? So if you're, I help menopausal women who suffer from hot sweats and fuzzy brain. There you go, just like me right now, because I can't think of the word. So what do they want to achieve? So your young person with acne would want to be clear skinned. The person with menopause wants to have no sweats and not have a fuzzy brain. There you go. I can't even remember because I've got a fuzzy brain. So, and then how you do that by working with me one-to-one over a period of 6 weeks or 8 weeks or however long you think that it's going to take or generally takes for your client to get over whatever they have or to deal with whatever they have. So I help young people who struggle with acne to achieve clear skin by working with me one-to-one in my clinic. Okay. Now there's another couple of variations on that. The other variation is the quick one is I help. So it's not what you do. Somebody's already said, what do you do? And you've already said, oh, I'm a nutritionist. And they've, and then they've said, oh, so who do you help? So then you come in with this one. That is I help young people who are struggling with acne through my 6-week program so they can have clear skin, because I believe every young person should have clear skin. So our words are, I help. Who is it you help? Who are struggling with? What are they struggling with? I help menopausal women who are struggling with hot sweats. We'll skip the fuzzy brain on this one. Who are struggling with hot sweats so this is how you're doing it, through my program, through my clinic, through seeing me one-to-one, through my whatever it is. So they can be hot sweat free, so they have clear skin, whatever it is, because I believe that we shouldn't have menopausal fluctuations, or because I believe that young people have the right to clear skin once they understand about healthy eating. So I'll put these two in the podcast downloads so that you can find them, so that you've got the template. So you just go to podcast downloads. The link for that will be in the chat. There's all of the other downloads for all of my other podcasts in there as well. There's workbooks and all sorts of things, because we have to be able to introduce ourselves in a way that the person that we're speaking to understands what we're saying. They understand that they're not our ideal client, or that they are our ideal client, and that they understand what we're doing and why we're doing it, so that they can share that information with somebody else, so that they're not going to look at you and go, oh, that's sweet, dear, or what a lovely little business you've got, or, oh, and what does your husband do? Is he looking after you? Or, it's ridiculous, because some of us are having the biggest launches they've had. I've been speaking to a number of naturopaths, and they're single naturopaths, and they're having big launches, and they're doing really well with clients because they've got the success rate. They're working towards it, and they totally have an elevator pitch down pat. They know the people they're treating, and they're speaking to those people specifically. And if we don't want to feel foolish out in social situations, then we need to have our elevator pitch down pat. So it's much easier if you know why you're doing it, who you're treating. And if you go, oh, well, I treat lots of different people with lots of different things, then this is going to be harder to have an elevator pitch. But, I help. There's going to be a preferred demographic that you help. So, I help middle-aged women who are struggling with life through my program, but there's going to be a demographic you prefer. So it might be I help parents who are struggling with their children. So it might be slightly loose, but it's still going to be the demographic of people you prefer. So your ideal client is the one that is going to be helped. So I just thought, let's talk about how to introduce yourself. Let's not feel flummoxed when we're out in social gatherings, because these are very simple lines. You speak to someone, you meet them at the barbecue, and you say, oh, what do you do? And they go, I'm an engineer. And you're like, oh, okay. There are hundreds of different types of engineers doing hundreds of different types of things. And it's the same with nutritionists and naturopaths. There are hundreds of us doing hundreds of different things, working with hundreds of different people. And we have to make sure that the people we speak to understand what we do and our ideal client, so that we can exclude the people that we don't want to see, that we don't mention the people that we don't want. We're only talking about the people we do want, so that when we see people out in social situations, we're on fire. That's what a woman once said, South African woman once said to me. You're on fire. So yes, on fire. That's what we need. We need to be on fire. So I hope you've had another short bite-sized one with me today. Thank you for being here. If you've enjoyed it, don't forget that 5-star review. You've made it to the end after all, so why not scroll down on your phone and give me 5 stars and say thank you, because that really helps. All reviews help small business, don't they? And have you asked for a review recently as well from your clients? Because it's going to help your business as well. So have a good one, and I look forward to catching up with you really soon. See ya.